Hello guys, welcome back. Today we are going to complete our API request and create models and set up our back-end server for our main stack application. Um, this is our application. This is our application which we are going to build. Final project look like this. So our final project where admin uh, where we have admin, seller, and buyer. So here is admin who manage all the product, manage the sellers and product tracking whatever, manage transactions, and then we also have a seller who posts the product, posts the product to this application. So in our previous video, we created a Node.js application with the Express, and we managed to connect it to MongoDB successfully. And I'm currently I'm currently running our application. This is our application here, and we are connected to MongoDB. So in this case, we want to now start building our backend application, our Node.js backend application. So create APIs, models, route, middleware, all of that. So I'm going to show you how we can do all of that step by step. So where now our application, our main stack application, will be able to have different dashboard and different users role. So first thing first, we'll go to your application. If in case you missed the previous video, please go ahead and check the link in this in the description about our playlist, where we have there are several videos about setting up the application, a full stack application. All right, this is the back our front end, but we are concerned on server side this on this video. So what I want to do is we want to create some folders here. The first one is controllers. We also want to create models where we are going to store all models, and then we also want to create route and config, and then we also need the util. All right, this is it. Can close this one. We don't need all of this one. Close this one. We only keep uh, all right, so close all of this. We only need our application, our app.js file. We are going to work on this one, no? All right, first thing first, let's create our auto route. So auto route, that is where a common user, seller or buyer can register. So auth.js. In this route, we have nothing in here so far, but we also need to, first of all, we need to bring in some stuff. First of all, bring in Express. So Express is equal to require Express. So I'm going to get rid of this. We don't need this for now. Secondly, we need to create a controller. So auth controller is equal to require auth controller. We don't have it, so we have to create this controller. So I can go to auth controller and then create this one, controller.js. And in this one, you can just create some functions you need here. Auth controller, auth controller is equal to object. So we have register and then login. So finally, we're just going to export our auth controller. So back to our route. So we need to also create some route here. We have a register route, and then also we have a login route, and then finally we have to export the route. Export the route. All right, so now we need to register the route. We can go to app.js. So register, define the app, the route. So auth, first of all, const. We can first of all bring in the route first. Okay, sorry. Need to bring in our app. So const route is equal to require auth, so auth, and then we need to use the route. So a route, we have auth, which is going to, we want to register everything under API, yeah, API slash auth. So if you hit API slash auth, for example, API slash auth slash login, so you'll be able to now login, or API slash auth to register everything else. All right. For now, let's just keep just one route. Now we can go to our route. This is what we have here. But is another thing I want to tell you, that in this case we want to use Postman to test our APIs. So if you don't have Postman installed yet, please go to your browser and then search for Postman, and then you'll be able to see this one. So you can download Postman. I have it downloaded in my computer, so I can and it's open here actually. I can go to Postman and then create make a request to our API. And also I want to show you that if you see our application is actually running, our server is running on port 5001. So here is our server. Here is where we start our server. So our server is running in 5001 in port 5001. So if I go to Postman, then go to HTTP localhost slash 5001, and then slash we want to get API. We want to go to API auth, and then make a request to login. So if I hit this, I hit the URL, you want to get anything, just you are returning login here. So if I go back to our server, this is our server. Please ignore this message here. So we have a package which is installed, and this package is that package the one throwing this error. It kindly ignore this error for now. All right. What I want to do is go back to our controller. You can see this is our controller. So in this controller, we want to, first of all, we want to create, we want to log out. Let's log out the whatever they will pass. It's console.log request.body. So if you send the body, we want to log out console.body. And now I want to make a request to register. Since we don't have user yet, and then I want to just go back to our Postman, and then make a request to register, post, and then register. So another thing we want to do is go to the body tab, and then select row, and then you also select JSON data. So in this one, we want to send now JSON data. So we want to send name, which just say Shabani, Shabani Muswamba, and then we want to also pass email, just going to be me@me.com, and then we want to pass password, And the password is going to be, sorry, password is just going to be, why is that appearing twice? I don't know. Password is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 0, and then let's say role is going to be seller. So that's it. So we just want to test to see to get the data from the back end. Of course, this we don't have models where to store this data, but I just want to show you. I just want to show you that our router is working properly. So if I send this, we're still getting the message register. This one is actually appear from our registration function. This is our registration function, and then if I go to the terminal, you can see now we have this our data here. All right, guys. But you can see we cannot, so we cannot verify the data. We don't have a model where to store the data, to create the user, store the data, verify or validate the input, all of that. So one thing we want to do right now is to go to our models, create first of all the user. So I want to create user model, and then for user model, we have a couple of things we need to do here. First of all, we need to bring in mongoose. Console mongoose is equal to require mongoose. And then now we don't need to create that, but we can just do const user is equal to, okay. First of all, we create user, the name is required. Let me press tab. User is the name is required. We don't need username, so we just have user name is required, and it is string. It is a string. And then also email. We also need the role, which is also is required, and then it's also a string. But for role, we need to set default. Default is user, and then we also need to set the name, which is going to be user admin. So we can have user admin and manager. It's actually manager and admin is actually going to be the same thing. And then we also have seller. So this is all we have here. You can also have created at. Let's say created at. This is a date, and then we're just going to be date at now. From now, when you create a new model. So what next we need to do here? Okay, this is it. But now we need to validate the data. To validate the data, first of all, if you see what we got here, what was it again? If you see the data we got here, I have name, string, email, string. So we need to verify this data. First thing first, we can do, we can get the data, but first of all, check if it's not empty. Check if the fields not empty. So we can do something. For example, first of all, we need to bring const name, email, role, and the password. So we bring all of that, and then we check if name, email, role, and password are empty. So we're just going to throw error. So 400 error, 400 raise dot response dot status, and then we pass code 400. Then we're just going to say that please provide all field. So that's it. So I'm using Codinium AI, so it's helping to speed up the development. All right. So something's missing here. It's now need to close this. All right. Else, if you get the all inputs, First of all, so we need to check if the user already exists. So if the user already exists with that email, so what we want to do first, we want to create the user const. What do we want to do? We want to bring check if user exists. We can do existing user. Existing user is equal to, we want to do await. So async function, we want to make sure our register function is actually async. So await is equal to await user.found. So found by email, found one by email. So we can also open Mango model. It's a model. It's a Mango model. Let's say collection. Collection. Say found one. So here is Mango model. So if you don't, you can actually go ahead and you open. So this will help you to speed up your development. So you can see the query projection and then options. So what we want to do here is we want to check if the user exists by email. So we pass our email. So if the user exists, so this user already exists, you cannot create another one. If the user exists, you're just going to return response with a status of 400. User already exists, and then close that. Else now we can create a new user, but for now we know we don't have that. We don't have a model. Don't have the user yet. Doesn't matter. So what we're going to do, we can set a new user. First of all, we also need to hash our password. We need to hash our password. So you need to bring in a couple of things here. Let's go back to the top. We need to bring in some couple of things. So first of all, we need to bring validation. Do const check validation. So this is from Express validation. So make sure you have Express validation installed on your JSON package. We have it here. You can see Express validation. So make sure you have it installed. So we need to bring in Express validation, and then also need to bring in the user, and we need also to bring bcrypt. So const bcrypt is equal to require bcrypt. So I have bcrypt installed here. So if you don't have it, you can install the bcrypt. All right. And next is we also need const JSON web token, which we don't have it. We have it installed already. So web token, if you go to my JSON, you can see web token is here. JSON web token is there. So that's it. So what I want to show you is that in order for you to use a JSON web token, so you need to get a secret. And how are you going to get that? So I have a command here. I'm going to share with you on a description of this video. Or you can also use this chat GPT to get the JSON web token. So if you type here get JSON web token, So here I will be able to get ChatGPT can help you to it can show you the code how you can there's so many ways you can do it, but in this way what I want to do is I want to use a command, so I can go back to my server, our application. I'm just going to stop the server, or I can also keep the server running, doesn't matter, but I can open git patch. I have git patch here, another terminal. I can let me just expand this, and then I was just going to run our command. This was the command I had. So if I run this, so if this is the command I have. So if I run this, I'm going to get this the secret. So make the secret is actually secret. So you don't this one not supposed to be public. Yeah. So if I go back to .env file, so we need to have the token. So make sure now you add your token here. Let me just save that. All right. So that's it for our token. So we will use it. I will show you where we are going to use it. For validation. That is going to be for middleware. But we don't actually. Okay, we have to. Let me just check what I have to do now. That's it. So that's it for the JSON Web Token. But we need to generate the password, or hash the password. Say hash the password. So const hash hash password is equal to await bcrypt dot hash password, and we pass our password which we get from the request body, and then we set the salt to 10, and then when we get after that we need to create the new user. So I need to create the new user. I can do constant new user is equal to new user is equal to user. I pass the name, email address, and then role, and then you pass the password. Sorry, and then you pass the password. All right. And then we save the user. Okay. Um. And then if now, okay, if now that's okay, what we're going to do is we're just going to return the user. But what I can do is okay, we're just going to return the user if that's okay. Instead to return this, we're going to get rid of this. We're just going to return uh, success to true, and then message user created successfully close. But what I want to show you is that we need to catch errors, especially when you start now checking for users, whatever. So you have to make sure that you are catching all errors. So we can wrap this in a try catch, and then I'm just going to pass this one here. Down here, I'm just going to handle errors. Just say handle errors. So for that one, I'm just going to return return the response status 500. Success is full, and then internal server error. So that's it. This is it for now. Is not all, but we still have much to do. We have to work to validate the inputs, because we need email. We need email. We need email roles, and then all of that password. So we have to do validation first. We have to validate to make sure that the data user is sending is actually correct. So to do that, since we have validation, so we can also create validation here. We can create, uh, let's say validate registration, or validate register is equal to an array, and then we pass in a couple of stuff. First of all, we need to check, see AI is helping us to just autofill all of them, but we have to work through step by step to make sure that we're having the right content, correct data. We have to make sure that everything is correct. So what I want to do is for registration, email is actually required. If the email is empty, if for example, first of all is name. If name is empty, name is required. If email is empty, email is required. And then it is an email. So to make sure that Express will help us to validate, to make sure that this is an email, and check for role, and then check for password. It's not empty. And then password, we have to make sure that the length for password is must be at least 6. But for the role, let me remove our role here. For role, we have to do a couple of validation here for role. So what I can do for role is I can do if is equal to, if the role is not empty, but we also want to, first of all, this is okay for now. Let's just keep that. I need to add a comma here. So let's just keep this for now. This is for for registration, but we can also set for login. Let's say validate login. So for validate login, we are going to do actually the same thing. So we just need email. We have email. Email is required, and then password is required. But I can also shorten this one. You can do if it's email. So we just do with message, and then that's it. So we could also just put this here, email dot. All right. Anyway, let's just try this one first. We want to see this one. Where is error? We will catch some errors. We want to try for the login first. First of all, let's go to our Postman, try to send the data to see the errors. Okay, user was created successfully. So we created the user successfully, but we didn't return that user. Okay, so if you want to, we want to now to log in. So let's go to create another post request. Make another post request. Go to HTTP localhost port 5000, and then API/auth/login. And then we go to select the tab, the body tab, and then the raw data. Make sure that you change this to JSON. Make sure that we change this to JSON. And then for JSON, we're just going to paste this one here, and we have the password. Get rid of this, and then get rid of the name. We only need these two. So if I send the request, of course, we're just going to get the login, because if we go back to our controller, this is the login. This is the only thing we're returning. But if, for example, we say console.log body, let's console.log request.body, and then if you send again, that one is actually nothing. We won't get anything there, but this is the body here. So I'm just going to stop the request, because we will keep going like that. All right, so now what we want to do, we want to get email and password, and then also we want to check email and password is not empty. We return, please provide, return a message, please provide all the fields, and then that's it. We want to check if the user exists. So const existing user is equal to await user find user if the user exists. So we're going to do a couple of things here, but I don't want to do that now. Let's make sure that this is an async function. And then we want to do something. For example, if the user exists, we want to check the password. Check the password if the password matches the current user's password. Okay, that if user exists, for example, if the user, you can check if the user doesn't exist. First of all, we want to check if the user doesn't exist. And then we need to return message. We need to return um, user not found. User does not exist. Is it still okay? Uh, Secondly, we want now to check the password. Check if the password matches. So for the password, we are going to do AI is helping us. AI is helping us to speed up the development. So is password correct? Await bcrypt to compare password. You pass the password you got from the body, and then with the current the existing user password. So if it exists, if it doesn't exist, we return invalid credential. Else, we create token. So for creating token, so we need to make sure that we have this one. We have to pass the secret. So this one actually I updated this, changed this to JSON JWT secret, so it can make it for it to make sense at least. So JWT. So we get our environment variable, but uh, we need to pass the idea, and then also we need to pass the role at least. And pass the role existing user role. But we want to set, let's set for example 600 hours. That's it for this one, for creating or for logging in. But another thing is we can return the data. We need to return the user actually. We need to return the existing user. So this is the existing user. I can go to instead to return this one, I'm just going to return the existing user. And also we have to wrap this in a try catch, so to catch the errors. So I can copy this one, just copy all of it, cut all of it, and then do try catch. Try catch. So I'm going to paste this in here, and then catch for error. Say handle errors. So internal server error. So if there's one. Okay. We can now just go and log in. So we haven't done validation here yet, but let's just go and test. Let's just go ahead and test. We send the data. Now we get the data, we get the user, whatever, blah blah blah. But we want to add validation. So to add validation, we can go back here. Here we are just checking if they are not empty, but also we are not checking. We are not passing in our validation. We are not actually passing in our validation. So to do that, to pass our validation, you see here we have we pass email. So let's copy this email. We check if it's email. If the email is not empty and is actually email. So this is what we want to do here. If email is not empty and is actually email. Let's see. Let me have a look. Okay, so this is what we are actually passing here. If it's email and it is not empty. Okay. So to pass the validation, we have to go back to auth route, and we need to bring in all of this one. So can bring in so we can pass the validation. First of all, we want to pass the validation for login. So for this login here, first of all, the registration. So registration dot validate the registration, and then login will also pass dot validate login. So now this is our validation. So if you pass the wrong data, so you are going to get an error. I'm sure I'll still get the same. But if, for example, I remove the add, and then I just add something like this one, I will get an error. User does not exist. Say user does not exist. So if you go back to, let's go back a little bit. This is our validation. Make sure that the validation, we are actually passing the validation here. Yeah. Back to login. Where's the login? This is the login. If the email is not correct, we just return here user does not exist. Okay, if I try to send again, we get the user again. If I go to login, I change this to me1, and then I just pass Shabani, Kachimbisha, and then send again. We created user successfully. So guys, so this is it for login, for registration and then login. So we have to pass now we have to create now the middleware. Let's go back. So we need now to create the middleware. So let's work on that now.